Hi, and welcome. There's been a lot of research on the hypersensitivity found in individuals with fibromyalgia. This hypersensitivity is related to sensory processes in general, like sensitivity to light, sound, touch, odors, cold, heat, weather. I put a link to that study below. Another study that talks about sensitivity is by Duroa. That link is also below. Many people with fibromyalgia work outside the home and face sensitivity challenges. But even if you are a homemaker or work inside your home, you will experience sensitivity to stimuli. Let me quote this study by Will Barker. Women with fibromyalgia reported increased sensitivities to stimuli in the environment and could experience more stress related to sensory conditions in daily life. It's a fact of what we have to live with, but it's okay. Let's talk about hypersensitivity to sound. Hypersensitivity to sound has been tested and shown as a problem in fibro with laboratory-generated noise. Researchers found that there is a higher sensitivity to auditory tones and daily sounds in fibromyalgia that are thought to be caused by reduced blood flow in specific brain structures. There is a global disturbance, this is a quote, there is a global disturbance in sensory processing rather than an isolated abnormality in pain processing. These researchers found that medium, auditory, and pressure stimulation were significantly associated with each other compared to healthy controls. That means that we have a high sensitivity to sound. There may be an auditory impairment of the inner ear or central auditory impairment. We have a sensitivity to sound or continuous noise. I don't know about you, but I'm definitely jumpy with sudden noises. Like that one. If I'm not expecting it, I jump. I was expecting it because I put it on there. So now let's talk about sensitivity to light. Vision problems are often reported by individuals with fibromyalgia. Being sensitive to light is common. Photophobia, which is a discomfort in the eye in bright light, which we simply call light sensitivity. And visual blurring is also known in fibro. I have visual blurring, which is most likely caused by macular degeneration. I have the dry kind, and cataracts, which I hope to get removed this year. But it can be caused from diabetic retinopathy too, which I don't have. I also have damage to my optic nerve in my right eye due to what's called optic neuropathy. I got it because of a lack of oxygen to my optic nerve when I didn't know I had obstructive sleep apnea. And that left me without vision in a small portion of my right eye, and it's permanent. So if you think you might have sleep apnea, get it looked at, please. These are considered an autonomic system problem. Our autonomic system regulates our heart rate, blood pressure, respiration, digestion, and sexual arousal. That was a quote from Waxenbaugh. I will go into the autonomic system issues in fibro in more detail in another video, but for this one, I want to talk about the sensitivity to light and other sensitivities. There's a really cool article that I will link below in the description called "Does Fibromyalgia Affect Eyesight?" In the article, it states our eyes each have postural muscles involved in moving the eyeball and allowing us to focus. If these muscles are not functioning correctly due to spasms or trigger points, then eyesight can be distorted. Well, that makes sense to me. The author also stated that many patients have to change their eyeglass prescription frequently because of fibromyalgia-related vision fluctuations and changes in visual acuity. Yeah, I had to have a new prescription every year for the last 10 years. Now let's talk about sensitivity to touch. Well, this is a given. If you have fibromyalgia, you know how sensitive we are to touch, but our experience of touch can be different to each of us. This sensitivity is called allodynia. Things that aren't normally painful can cause us severe pain. When I was a little girl, I could barely stand to have my hair brushed. It shouldn't have been painful, but for me, it was excruciating. My mom hated brushing my hair because I screamed every time. Well, for us with fibro, we might experience a friendly pat on the back as being very painful. Or our puppy lying next to us and the feeling that our thigh was just hit with a hammer. Not fun. But I learned to protect myself by putting a pillow next to my thigh for that sudden doggy movement against that area. We also experience hyperalgesia, where things that are normally painful feel more painful than usual. So we experience hyperalgesia to cold, heat, blood pressure, pinpricks, and for me, that doggone blood pressure cuff. Honestly, the blood pressure cuff never really bothered me until after fibro. But some people without fibro consider it painful. So that's why I'm putting it here. For me, it was more like allodynia after fibro. And the same for getting blood drawn. It didn't bother me before fibro, but after, I can feel that needle like nobody's business. Now let's talk to sensitivity to odors. Other than when I was pregnant, smells didn't bother me much, but now if there's something stinky around, it's like I can smell it with my whole body. Some people with fibro are extremely sensitive to, for example, cologne. Apparently, our mucous membranes in the nose absorb smells, and for us, they'll stay with us. If a stinky smell gets in my nose, I will smell it all day. For me, once that smell is in my nose, I find it very unpleasant. Fibromyalgia News Today, and see the link below, calls this experience multiple chemical sensitivity. For me, I like fragrances that smell good. It's the stinky ones, at least from my perspective, that cause me issues. Okay, now let's talk about sensitivity to heat and cold. In fibro, we have difficulty adapting to changes in temperature. We also have a reduced pain threshold to both heat and cold stimuli. That is, it takes less extreme temperatures to feel pain from that stimuli. I put an article, a link to an article below. Maybe you're only sensitive to cold and not heat, or vice versa, or maybe both affect you. I live in Indiana. The weather temperature fluctuates to the point that it might be 70 degrees one day and 50 another. Temperature sensitivity is real. Our autonomic system is abnormal, and our bodies react with a fight or flight response. How do you experience temperature sensitivity? Now let's talk about sensitivity to weather conditions. This may include precipitation, atmospheric pressure, outside temperature, sunshine duration, and relative humidity. This doesn't affect all of us, and people without fibromyalgia say they're affected by weather conditions. I think that as we have fibromyalgia over time, we get used to our symptoms. Maybe it's then that we notice other things going on, like for me, weather conditions. Maybe it was there all along, I just didn't notice it. But according to medicinenet.com, 92% of people with fibro report a worsening of symptoms with weather changes. Now, the article is titled, "Weather Doesn't Trigger Fibromyalgia Symptoms, Study Finds." But basically, an association is unclear because there was a significant yet small effect on pain and fatigue. But I still think my quality of life is affected because I most definitely notice weather changes. How about you? I'd like to end this video by telling you about the Fibro Manual by Genevra Lipton. I put a link to her book in the description. This book helped me to understand that fibro is a result of a chain reaction set off by our hyperactive stress response. Our fight or flight is instinctual. Unfortunately, in fibro, this instinct doesn't shut off. It's always on the alert and ready to go. Dr. Lipton also has a YouTube channel, and you can find the link in the description. She gets us because she also has fibromyalgia. So I hope you found this lecture helpful, and please like, share. You surely know somebody who has fibromyalgia or would be interested in learning more, and subscribe so we can get the word out. I have so much more to come, and I send tender hugs and blessings your way. Love you. Could experience more stress. Let me do that again. Conditions. I'm having a hard time. Fibromyalgia, where let's talk about hypersensitivity. Where things that are let me start over. We also experience hyperalgesia, where things that are normally painful didn't bother. It never bothered me before fibro. Smells that didn't bother me much